You slip into unconscious.
Okay, I took RTF for a few years here in Austin, and just in the mainline textbooks and just the basic RTF, it taught, and they taught and showed us films about in the 40s and 50s, the subliminals in movies. And that's, putting a millisecond, a few frames in there of a desert and then showing an ice-cold Coke, and it doubled sales. And then there's semantical manipulation, where they change the meaning of words and manipulate the way they say things, the way they twist things. There's that Orwellian, brute type. Then you have the basic 5-6 video screens behind the news presenter with a buffalo running over somebody, or a car wreck, or a balloon on fire, or a politician speaking, or the running of the bulls in Madrid, and all this, and so your brain can't watch it all consciously, so it switches off into subconscious, and that's admitted. So we have all the admitted ways they're doing it. They also have the scroll on the bottom, so that makes you shift into subconscious mode, so your brain can pick all that up. The brain waves lower, then you have the flicker rate. And again, this is mainline science. They tune the flicker rate to the exact rate of the brain for hypnotism, just like the flashing or strobing light or the watch my watch. It's more sophisticated than that. And now, and it's always been happening, but before it was the authoritative male on the news, now it's info babes smacking their lips. They'll be talking about the most horrible thing, but they're so sincere, and they're looking at you with sexual desire, and you'll be watching with all these layers, and you can't help but start smiling and start liking it. Even myself, when I'm consciously aware of it, especially since the high-def TV came out, especially since I got one and watch it occasionally when I'm on the treadmill or when I'm at the restaurant, picking up some food. I'm watching people mesmerized watching it. They are under mind control, and they're putting subliminal letters in there. I mean, they're doing more than 7 things, but the public, I don't think, has any idea. We're not kidding. That is a mind control weapon. Alan?
Yes, well, you'll find that techniques have always been used on the public for mind control. Always. The religions and so on were used in centuries gone by, always in collusion with the dominant minority of the country to keep them in place. So when radio came out, Britain, the BBC sprung up very quickly as a propaganda tool for the British government. Even today, it's still run and owned by the British government. Every employee in the past had to come from Eton to make sure it was the right class who ran the whole organization. And it's never changed. And they found out in World War I that they could put out dramas, daily dramas on to the public, and leave you with a cliffhanger with the hero hanging at the end of it, what's going to happen, tune in tomorrow, and people would change their behavior and be there tomorrow at that time. So it's a technique to alter your behavior. This was also confirmed by Skinner, who talked about technology and so on. And he said that technology, its real influence is to alter the reality of the people into which it's introduced. That's what happens. Look at the people now with their cell phones and iPods and all the rest of it. Their behavior has been altered by technology itself. With the high-definition television, it certainly must be more effective than the last type. The reason you have writing at the bottom of newscasts is it forms a type of cognitive dissonance. It's no different than when you're watching something happening, like a car smash in real life, and someone starts to talk in your ear about some other topic. You say shh, shh, because you're now getting auditory responses and visual. When the two clash
It's
together,
just like when you try to watch a movie with subtitles, you're distracted away and now subconsciously are absorbing the entire system. And again, stay there. Back in 1 minute, Alan, I want you to walk through these. But then they have integrated all these together while the message itself is verbally a twisting, a semantical deception and lie. But you can't even pay attention to what they're really saying because you're watching a million different pinwheels and subliminal messages and flashes and scrolls and everything else. Alan, you were going through just what the simple scroll does, making your mind focus on that. So now you're distracted, and the propaganda verbally goes directly into the subconscious. That's only 2 layers. Keep going through that. Then we'll talk about the gopher class, why they serve their masters.
Yes, well, getting back to that part you're talking about there with subliminals, when you have you're trying to listen, when your eyes and your ears are working in unison with the one person talking on TV, you still have the ability to censor or say, I don't quite believe this or whatever. But when you have another element added to it, a second visual, it alters the brain frequencies as you're watching it, and your censor part is down. You're taking all that in subconsciously.
It's much more extreme than just the case of them shrinking attention spans down to about 2 minutes from previously over an hour 50 years ago. It's more than that. People now can't just watch a straight-up TV program that's just straight up. They have to have multi-layers because now their neurons and neural pathways have been prepared.
That's correct. And when you're seeing some horror scrolling around the bottom of the screen, you're hearing another one from the presenter in front of or on the screen. You can only handle 2 major crises to 3, possibly for some people, at once. And when you cannot handle that, you literally go into an alpha state, and you're now being...
And they have the info babe showing just incredible sexual desire and all of her body language towards you through the TV screen with the false illusion she's really there with you in the room while they show you violence and report horrible things, also creating false neural pathways.